the Bombard and ZingoTV apps in the respective app store on iOS and Android devices. While you download, please make sure to rate and leave a comment. Both apps are free, so you know. ZingoTV is also available on Google, Chromecast, Amazon Fire, and Fire TV sticks, Roku and Roku TV sticks, and all smart TVs 2016 forward. Thank you. Milad, thank you very much, brother. Before I start, I want to introduce you properly. My guest today is my brother, Milad. He's a boxer, ex-soccer player, and entrepreneur, and is a bad man in the ring. So how are you? How's your day been, man?
Good, man. Good. Happy to be here on the show, man. Really excited.
Thank you. Yeah, let's just go into it. Yeah, what attracted you to boxing early on, brother? Because I know you played soccer. I remember we talked about that. You started playing soccer out there in Europe, and eventually it led you to boxing, or you chose that you wanted to do boxing, and kind of just go on. Let us know.
Pretty much. My father was a boxer. He was a heavyweight champion back home in Iran.
Okay.
A big boxer. Okay. What he did growing up, it was what his family did, full of wrestlers, fighters, weightlifters.
I saw the pictures you sent. The guy looks, handsome guy.
So pretty much from my dad growing up, I always used to get into a lot of fights, and I just love fighting, and I love the sport, and I love just the science behind it. And unfortunately, football was my passion. Playing soccer was what I did, ever since I was a baby. So I did that. I went to school in the States. I went on a soccer scholarship, played in the States as well, played in Europe, played back home in Iran.
Okay. So you're gaining all that experience abroad?
Yeah, I traveled a lot, man. I went through a lot of shit.
Okay.
Through the professional world is a very, 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 very tough thing to do, especially when it's hard to trust people, and especially as a soccer player, right? You're a dime a dozen. There's a million others just like you. It's not like boxing where if you do well in a fight that means a lot, you might get another really big opportunity your next fight. In soccer, it's really like that. You got to grind for decades to get it.
Hey, yes, definitely, brother. Welcome, Frost.
What up? How are you?
Sorry to cut you short, brother. Let's welcome Frost for a minute and continue this conversation. I want to introduce you properly. This is Frost. He's a professional artist, educator, b-boy, champion, and speaker and community engagement worker. This guy does it all. How are you? How's your day going?
I'm doing all right. I'm just really busy. This is Atreyu. Nice. Hello.
Hey. What's the name?
Atreyu.
Atreyu. Beautiful, brother.
Thank you,
Good to have you on board.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. I was listening. Milad, what were you saying?
Yeah, just long story short, is trying to secure a contract that was more than 2-3 years, where I actually can build a home and a future potentially. It was a hard thing to do as like a 19-year-old kid who just got up and left from Canada. Nobody respected Canadian football. It was really tough. But I was lucky. I got some good opportunities. I played. Injuries, unfortunately, didn't allow me to continue. So I came back home. I started working and just getting, jobs here and there and starting little businesses here and there on my own and just being that entrepreneur. Ever since I was a kid, I was selling T-shirts, Ed Hardy hats.
Okay. Shoes, so right away,
shoes, like everything, whatever it could be, whatever I can make money from, I was doing it. And I just took that and got smarter. I studied online courses. I took a bunch of courses, online and just tried to educate myself in the world of finance and the world of business and understand the corporate way of doing things as opposed to the street hustler mentality that I grew up with.
Nice.
Yeah, I just worked with a couple different people. I got lucky and started getting my hands in the business world, and that's how I ended up there.
Interesting. Thank you, man. How about you, Frost? What attracted you to breakdancing early on? And from going, from a kid from Canada to performing in front of like 4 maestro, actually opening up for maestro, Kara Swan, Talib Kweli. I can keep going with his names. Seriously, that's
have a name, places. I grew up with older sister and a lot of older cousins who, the generation gap was very big. Basically, I had a lot of cousins and my sister who were already into hip hop. So I was a little kid, 8 years old in the house parties that probably shouldn't have been there, Seeing and hearing everything.
I remember those.
All that, right? And actually, by the time I was about 13, 12, 13, I was, I was kind of a smaller kid. I wasn't really like a popular kid or whatever. I was very cerebral. I was really in my own mind, into drawing, into arts, film, stuff like that, video games, all that. But, I had some problem guys in, the neighborhood or whatever, but there was a neighbor of mine who became my best friend, and he looked out for me. And he was the epitome of like a big brother, right? By the time I was 14, he tragically passed away, and I was the last person that he was around before he passed, So I really carried a lot of inside myself, and I had swore to myself that I was going to be as strong as him. And he was like a street fighter kind of guy, and very tough, and loved his family and friends. He's loyal, and by that time I was about 16, I started to gravitate towards a lot of the b-boys in my high school, and we founded a crew. We started getting together. My self-esteem was picked back up. I felt a lot more comfortable with myself. I started to learn
confidence.
Confidence, yes, but more than that, the neural synapse with the development of my body was actually growing significantly. So my grades started to improve. I started to become a lot more comfortable with asking my family about our history, about our culture. I started to, just grow as an individual.
Growing,
by the time I was maybe dancing for a couple of years, my crew and I that we started, which we eventually called Ground Illusions, we started to perform on CBC. We opened up for H.E.R and Solitaire. And, we got onto that because we entered our first tournament in November. Actually, November 26th, 1999. Exactly 20 years ago, we entered our first tournament, and we came second. After that, for the following 5 years, we just started gathering a lot of momentum, and we literally won about 90 to 95% of the competitions that we had entered.
Holy, just grinding.
We're grinding really hard.
I love that. I love that, brother. We're gonna continue talking about that, man. How about you, Milad, man? How's the traveling experience impacted you? Going from, like we said, Europe, States, traveling. How's that impacted you, to change from career, from soccer to boxing? And what are you learning so far from boxing?
Yeah, it made me almost invincible to a lot of things that come with the sport of boxing. In boxing, you can't succeed unless you put in 100% of effort, 100% of the time.
For sure.
And
from
that professional soccer background and coming from that professional business background, I know what it takes to do well in anything. So I train with you in the gym. I don't skip a day. I'm in there every single day, and I understand what it requires. And that's just from traveling and from starting from the bottom so many times, over and over.
It helps the business.
Yeah, over and over
the craft,
again. Pick myself back up, failing, succeeding. So boxing is just natural. That's just what it is every single day. And I find it just a natural sport to me, and that's why I've fallen in love with it. And I'm not gonna stop.
Definitely. So like you said, your father, before Faraz came on, Milad was saying, so his father's an ex-Iranian heavyweight champ, man, and this guy is, he used to play soccer, and obviously transitioned, left everything behind, and said, I'm gonna choose to just do boxing, man. I'm gonna choose to go this path. And I see him in the gym every day, and
I moved.
You've improved so much, man.
Life to a little small apartment right next to the gym, just so I can be closer and train every day.
Yeah,
I literally sacrificed everything I have for this right now.
Definitely. How you guys been keeping positive in this period, man?
Oh, being positive is going through life to have full experience and gathering wisdom. So, I'm saying you can't be fully positive if you don't know what the negative is either. So I feel for me, I'm just trying to stay. I'm not trying. I am staying, in fact, quite busy on my goals, my future goals. Still working on myself. Doing a day job currently while still training. I'm actually getting a lot more into music, as you already know. So I've been
of course,
jamming and practicing.
We'll jam in time.
Yeah, in time. So I've been building on that, and just supporting people through different aspects of community work. After I had won all the tournaments with my homies, I started doing community work. So I've been doing that for 17 years, while still trying to become a competitive champion. And now my students are, world champion status. Support and finding ways to encourage people in my community online by creating focused, concentrated groups and stuff. That's been actually very helpful to keeping me positive, because people are really benefiting from the knowledge, and they're very there's a lot of gratitude there mutually and a lot of reciprocity. So for me, that's been helpful for sure, you know, and support from my family and friends.
I love that. That sounds like a positive, supportive group there, and definitely.
Yeah.
How about you, Milad? That's sweet, man.
Let's see, Kolunga, nothing's changed for me, man. I had a goal before COVID started, and that was to try and become a professional boxer and win a Canadian title one day. And I'm sorry to say, but COVID hasn't affected my plans at all. I've actually been able to focus more on my training. I've been able to focus more on what I got to do, because now there's no outside, you know, noise and shit to bother me.
Yeah.
It was a blessing.
And like you said, you can focus on improving the daily little grind, the daily little things. What's been the most enjoyable moments so far of your journey, Frost? And we'll get back to you, Milad, as well. Man. What's been like, if you pick some of your most enjoyable moments, that's in your career? Heavy, I know. I'm asking you first, by the way, because I know you got to leave a little earlier.
Yeah, I got to leave in 20 minutes or whatever. But, you know, after doing this for, 23 years as such, winning my first national competition, it was back to the Essence in Ottawa in 2008. And there was about 65, 70 competitors in Ottawa. And the bracket was really rough, man. We were going like 4 or 5 rounds, and each round had about 4 or 5 throwdowns. And there was a half an hour qualifier before that.
How many minutes, the rounds?
It wasn't timed. Straight, you know.
Yeah, no, it's tiring.
You're done when the round is done. So, and the thing was, by the end, my energy level was at the highest at the end of the tournament. So that was accomplishment, winning skills and meter, working in the Arctic, with the Inuit community, with our Indigenous communities for several years. I've been up there several times. Very big highlight for me. Working in prison in the Young Offender Centers, max security across the country, and working internationally in Japan with the Storytime Collective, with
I know you're big on that.
Century B-Boys, all those times, man, like irreplaceable moments, and just like timeless highlights, it's difficult to pick one. And I know that if I had a little bit more time, I could guide, but so far that's kind of like the main thing, is accomplishing my goals on a competitive level, seeing my students or my pupils, who are now my younger brothers, and my crew, become national champions, a world champion status, like I said, as well. And also how I've shared, doing TED Talk in Vancouver about 4 years ago, like a massive milestone. Definitely.
I remember that, and I'm definitely going to ask you about that. I want to hear all about that one, actually. Thanks for bringing it up again. How about you? What's been some of your best moments so far, Milad, with your whole experience in sports?
Similar to like an artist, you spend so many hours in the studio training and putting pieces together to finally perform or whatever it may be.
Yes, sir.
Similar to what I've been going through, just being an amateur and learning the grassroots of boxing. I'm just learning the fundamentals now and trying to perfect those and make that part of my craft. But when I'm able to finally put together something that I've been training on in a sparring session and it working off and me getting a win from my coach, that's the feeling of supreme joy, man. And that's something that I look forward to getting more of that feeling. I feel euphoric energy, and that's what I need, and that's what I want. And
so
I'm on my way.
The daily improvements. You have time now to do the daily improvements. So, how what are some of the mistakes that you can tell someone starting out in this kind of stuff that they can avoid, whether the environment they're in or people they have around them? What kind of mistakes can people avoid? So, whatever the career they're in.
I feel it's really important to respect the people who came before you as much as you can, and find the reciprocity. There's some people come before you, they don't give you the time of day, but I think it's about finding the right type of people, the right type of mentorship. I think that's huge, and it's a big mistake for people to, in my personal opinion, to consciously isolate themselves away from access to knowledge, because I think it's an ego and a pride thing. You know what I'm saying? It's back then we didn't have classes. You couldn't just go to a studio to learn this. You had to go out, travel different cities, find 3 seconds of information, and build on that, right? So I don't take knowledge for granted in that fact. So definitely finding the right type of mentorship and building. Also, another thing I think is really important is keeping your boundaries and understanding what that means. in all aspect. You know what I mean? Because especially if you're getting successful, people really want to come to you and get at you. And some of that energy is not necessarily good energy. So you need to find the right thing to you, know where your roots are, you know what I'm saying? And stick with your roots. Also, putting your eggs all in one basket, I don't necessarily think is always the right choice. You have your goals, yes, and you want to train 100%, but always keeping your mind open-minded to how you can have other external things combined with the internal things.
For sure.
Options
the
very
life brings.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to happen. All my work, man, a majority of all out the window, throwing jams, workshops, everything out the window of COVID. So I have to be resourceful to take it out. So I think those things are really important. And lastly, stay humble.
Yeah.
You know, stay humble. If you're not humble,
100%.
you're gonna get checked, you know?
If you're not humble,
checked,
life will humble you. How about you, Milad,
man? So, you know,
what are
stay
some
humble,
things
stay positive.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
what are some things that someone starting out can avoid?
Frost nailed the two biggest things on my list. One of them is you know, have a bigger ear than you have a bigger mouth, right? Listen more than you speak, you know.
Definitely.
I grew up in a pretty interesting neighborhood where violence was the first answer to everything. But you also learn that, you know, there's people ahead of you that have been where you were at. Listen to them, but also take into consideration the times. Times have changed, but a lot of the same grassroots lessons remain the same, you know. And I think it's really important to remember that. Respect is number one. Yeah. And just honor and integrity in anything that you're doing, man. You know, like even us as boxers, or you as a musician, or you as a dancer, or whatever it is, have honor and integrity in your work. You know, you show up to the, for example, you know, you're there because you're there to improve that day. You're not there to just be there. You know, you're not just there to be there ever. And you don't go meet up and hang out with your friends just to be there and hang out with your friends. No, it's there it's an exchange of energy. It's an exchange of knowledge.
Definitely.
Of something.
I agree with that.
That's
absolutely.
Make sure it's an exchange of something every time you do something.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And I'm on my way to having a kid, and that's number one lesson.
Yes.
Right.
How is that, by the way, man?
It's crazy.
Very soon,
4.5 months away. It's a blessing I've been waiting for since the day I was able to have a conscious mind.
Wow, that's great.
I love that. Let's talk more about that too. What motivated you guys early on?
Early on, at first it was the battle, because you know I had all this rage inside of me. You know, I'm very naturally, I'm a pretty aggressive person, pretty intense person.
Yeah, because I've seen you battle and I've seen you get physical with the guys and push them. Like the breakdancing, I've seen you push the guys. No, that's in dancing though.
That doesn't happen often. That's only if someone is like overstepping the boundaries. So, you know, you got to remind people, like, you know, the reality of life. You know, what you give, you know. What I'm saying?
I've seen you do it.
But you know, at first it was to battle, to get all the angst and all that shit out of my system. Excuse my language, but it became more about sharing the knowledge, and I found my purpose more in sharing that knowledge, retaining it, and applying it, and passing it on. You know, so people know me around the way for being that type of role, because that role found me. So I have been very consistent as much as I can be, and persistent to share the knowledge, and that's been my motivation.
Definitely.
And music, of course, music and collaboration. You know,
man. Life, creating, man. I love that, man. What were some motivations early on, Milad?
Just a dream I had. I've always wanted to get into boxing. Ever since I was a kid, I've had, you know, look at this picture right here.
That's you. Hey, that's
12-year-old. So I was been doing it. But honestly, it's just, I'm an athlete. I'm a natural born athlete. I finished playing soccer at 22 years old. Like I said, injuries made me put the gloves up and stop playing. I was a goalkeeper. And I tried to work, but that's just not who I am. I'm an athlete. I'm a natural born athlete. I need to be doing sport. I need to be pushing myself. I need to be
By the way, if you see this guy, he's a giant of a man. He's like 6. Oh, what's your height? Seriously, at the gym, if you see this guy's a big man, just because he's sitting down here looking like a little guy.
Yeah, man. So even COVID helped me cut that weight. I was a heavyweight fighter before COVID. All my fights, and all of them have been heavyweight. But now that I've had, you know, throughout this time off, I've been able to focus a lot on my nutrition and my exercise, and I've been able to cut 30 pounds and come into a complete different weight class and be comfortable here now. So that's another blessing.
And you're looking better, by the way. You're looking better too.
Thanks, man.
Oh, man. That's
Tell me, when did you guys realize you'll be doing this for the rest of your life? Like breakdancing is what I'll be doing for the rest of my life, or sports. When did you realize?
Well, it's interesting. It was kind of like, it was more, you know, when City TV and Much Music are calling my house, and
yeah,
and my parents are like, "Oh, this is actually serious now."
And you break, because you're breaking down. Yeah.
When there was opportunities that were coming around consistently, I had the impression I was very like solid on it. But I have to admit, like, you know, boxing and all that with breaking, because it's very cultural in its context, it consumes you holistically. So it was kind of like, I realized that I was going to continue doing this when I went to college my second time, and I started doing community outreach and development. And I started to implement my programs in City Hall through internship and teaching people. When I started to teach people that and retrain myself from a heart injury I had, I was off for like, you know, almost a year. And I taught myself from scratch with the students. Then I realized, like, you know what, man, I think I'm going to continually do this. And, you know, one thing led to another. Again, winning competitions, being in a lot of those shows that you had mentioned, you know, things like that is a gradual thing. But, you know, like everybody, you know, we come with doubts and this and that, but you can't doubt your culture. You know what I'm saying?
You can't doubt the culture.
You can't doubt your culture and how it speaks to you. You know what I'm saying? So whether it is that I keep dancing professionally for the rest of my life, I do not know, but I'm always going to dance for the rest of my life, period. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. Same, brother. I'm going to dance in that ring and stick.
Yeah.
How about you, Milad, man?
Honestly, every time I play any sport, I'm in my happy zone, man. That's all it is, to be honest. I'm in my comfort zone anytime I'm doing a sport. Right now, it's boxing. Every time I step in that gym,
you're home.
That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah, bro.
I don't get to do anything else.
Yeah.
Oh,
Frost, yeah. Tell us, I wanted to ask Frost, tell us a bit about the hip hop culture. Do you think it's gonna be changed now with the COVID situation? Like, do you think, because b-boying is a big part of, you know what I mean, hip hop culture. Now people can get together and they can't start rap battling. How's that gonna affect that whole culture, that whole movement?
Because hip hop is a social thing, you know, there's definitely an impact in regards to conduct and ethics, you know what I'm saying? Like your etiquette, you know, and I think that there's certain things in terms of connection that's organic will be hindered a little bit. But, you know, it's like life. Everything will always, you know, energy doesn't go away. It just gets moved. So things will get put on the underground. And hip hop, although it was manifested in the 70s as we know it, you know, in New York, hip hop is in fact ancient. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop has been around since the dawn of time, because it is a lens and a way to approach things, to create something from, to be in connection with people, and it doesn't matter distance, time, or space. You know what I'm saying? And the music is kind of the energy that keeps us moving. So people are always making music. You know what I'm saying? People always feel that need to go off and to express and to get loose. And you know, in some ways it's changing, like you said, because we don't having the jams and all that stuff.
I know. I miss those.
You know, but honestly, it also weeds out like intention also, you know what I'm saying? Like, those things will definitely change, and culture is meant to change over time due to necessity. You know what I'm saying?
It's natural, man. It's natural change, and that's what I've been telling myself. No matter what, you know, you have your ups and downs in life every day. I've been trying to tell myself, man, it's change, man. Just go with it. Just go with the flow. Not everything is perfect, you know, but just go with the flow right now. What's keeping you guys going? Like, what I want to know, what drives you, what motivates you, what keeps you just striving right now,
man? Two things. From the internal motivation, what is keeping me moving is what it is that I feel I have to contribute to the world and that's immediately around me and to the future. So, you know, like what was said earlier. Like purpose, you know what I'm saying? So what was said earlier is like you have dreams, and you know sometimes those dreams get like punked or whatever, but you still have the root and the essence. So internally that's that. Externally, what motivates me is to see people happy when I share with them.
I love that.
Motivations for me is like, you know, I share a lot of knowledge. I traveled around the world to acquire knowledge. I put it in myself. I show and improve. So then when I share that knowledge, I share it freely. You know what I'm saying? Regardless whether I'm doing work or not or paid for work, I share the knowledge freely. And that for me motivates me because there is that feedback, and it's each one teach
You
one.
see
We all
the work you're
support each
doing.
other. Yeah, we're
I
supporting
love
each
that.
other. Yeah, man, that's motivating for me. Right now, my students are motivating me to still dance. The way that I've been dancing. So I'm very grateful to them.
For sure, brother. I love that, man. This is sick.
Yeah, man.
How about you, Milad, man? Well, what motivates you to keep pushing, brother?
One of the biggest things that motivate me internally are where I was to where I am right now, and then my family that I'm starting to build, brother. I have a lot of goals and aspirations, and I've never ever stopped until I've hit any of them. So that's just
Definitely
enough on my plate right there.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I mean, keeping your passion going.
And the creator
how
too, man. The creator, dude. Also, can't forget to acknowledge the creator, man. Any incarnation people have belief system. It doesn't matter. For me, the creator is a big motivation in my life for sure.
Sure, man. I believe. How have you guys been able to maintain the passion, the hunger?
For me, I get inspiration also from various art forms. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm a visual artist first, and then obviously music, I'm getting into it. So acquiring different experiences from outside of my bread and butter of the dance, you know what I'm saying? That is like giving me hunger because I'm always interested in creating originality, you know what I'm saying, and being creative and putting something out there in the world that hasn't been seen before. And even if it hasn't, to some degree, it is in reference, because I don't believe people love things because they're great. I believe that people love things because it reminds them of something that is great.
I think
outside or with inside too, So that motivates me, and again, my crew, my family, my friends, you know what I'm saying, and my vision and my purpose and the creator, man, that like motivates me a lot, man. For sure.
Yeah,
people
man.
being happy.
And right now, you're motivating a lot of people.
I hope so.
Yes, sir. How about you, Milad?
Honestly, I really want to see some of your dancing, man. I'm gonna tune into it later on.
Yeah. You're gonna see. Trust me, man.
And likewise,
this guy,
of course, man.
So I didn't tell you.
Imagine how that is in your art too.
So we applied for Indie Week. Me and Matata Six. We applied for Indie Week. When was this? 2017? I think it was 2017.
Already? Wow. 2018.
Yeah, I think 2018 was it?
I think 2018.
We applied for Indie Week, me and the band. And then Frost was introduced to me by a friend. So I invited Frost to come on the show and just be a dancer, like I said. Just come in and start breakdancing. And his breakdancing was the reason why we won that competition there. We end up going for that night. I'm telling you, because you brought the energy, and once you started dancing, everybody's like, this band got it because this guy's dancing this way. Yeah, can you imagine they know you're a professional dancer? They don't know.
It was teamwork.
Start breakdancing.
Yeah,
and he brought everybody in.
Yeah, I've been in positions where I'm quite used to this because of my career and all these years.
Yeah.
Without rehearsal, just on the fly, even without knowing all the tracks, I have an empathy with the musicians, and I've been on stages with, like, who was mentioned, and also including, I want to give a shout out to Group Sun from Poland, a very big artist in Poland. Like, thousands upon thousands of people watch him, and I did a similar thing to their show when they came to Saga, and I danced the whole concert, guy, and that was one of the first times I had done that. But the energy was like mad building and dope. So it was great to do that with y'all. I would love to do that again sometime. We'll see how things go in the future, right? But,
yeah, man. Let's do it.
Yeah.
What else want to start? Yeah. Early on, how did you start teaching yourself the fundamentals? Because I know a lot of people watching this. Say if you're gonna be a break dancer, if you're gonna be a boxer, people don't know where to get the information. There is the YouTube, but what else can people dig into to get that stuff that you can't find out there? What did you guys use?
Well, really, like I said earlier, that there wasn't very many resources like there is now.
Yeah.
So I think the essence of you being someone who is digging for that information, of your own recognizance, of your own like
seeker of knowledge,
go, like, you're the one who has to motivate yourself. Like what was just said earlier, like, you got to push yourself. And also I think that, like, in the context of breaking and hip hop, know your history. You know,
Yeah.
learn your history and understand the
Even in
music in
boxing,
itself,
Respect
and then you're gonna get a whole
appreciate
cultural
the history of
context.
the culture.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Respect and appreciate the history of it.
Yeah.
That plays
Yeah.
a long part in dance. I know that because I work in the media industry as well.
You know, man. Yeah, to know your future is to know your past, right? So I think
Yes.
that to me is like the most important thing is find the correct mentorship, and you having your own internal motivation, or with you and your crew, your friends, to
Yeah.
dig deep for that information and to aim to make an impact that, you know, what are you saying in a conversation that has been happening for years and years and years, maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of years before you? Now here you
Yeah.
are in 2020. What are you
Yeah.
going to add to the conversation that is
Yeah.
now
What are
going?
you adding?
You know,
And is
your
it worth
soul was
it?
born on the planet. What is your
Yeah.
voice going to share that is of significance? Like my
Yeah.
man said, you know, he's like, don't just
Yeah.
gonna go with your friends just to chill. Like, what's
Yeah.
the energy exchange? What is your
Sure.
purpose?
What are you
Follow that, you
exchanging?
know?
I love that, man. That's so
Sure,
true.
man.
And is it worthy of you going then exchanging the energy? Maybe sometimes it's not.
Yeah,
You know what I
sometimes
mean?
not.
Because sometimes
man.
knowing that's gonna take away from what you're trying
It's
to
not
build.
the right
So,
exchange, right? The
yeah.
reason
Yeah.
why I was saying that is some of your friends might not be, you know, hopefully your friends. They might have different
Yeah.
You're right.
with
That's
different.
So you have to watch your crowd, definitely. Because you, how about you, Milad? How did you start teaching yourself like the fundamentals, at least from boxing? Because I know it's so hard to transition from soccer all the way to just using your feet mostly to using your hands. So how you been able to do that?
Boxing is a very fundamental sport, my friend, and you know this too. It's a very technical, very fundamental and precise sport. And
Yeah.
thankfully, we're in a day and age right now where you can pick anything in the world you want to become, and there's a billion tutorials on it.
Yeah.
You want to learn how to be,
But you still gotta go in the ring.
learn how to be a
Still
hard
gotta go in the ring.
know how to do whatever. You can figure it all out online.
True,
Yeah.
man.
But I was just lucky, man. I was lucky I was surrounded with the right people. I was blessed to meet Ryan Grant, my coach.
Yes. RG, big up.
Yeah, the biggest big
Ring
up to
general.
Ryan Grant. That man has changed my life. And, you know, just understanding the basic fundamentals of the sport. That's the most important aspect. Understanding the basic fundamentals of it. You know, and
Yes.
that same rule applies to anything.
Yes,
Learn
right.
the history of it, understand how the sport has evolved, where the sport is going. You know, boxing is a very evolving sport. The style of boxing we have today is different than the
Yeah.
style of boxing we had, you know, 20
So
years ago.
knowing your history, like you're
Exactly.
saying,